Hello.
Hello.
What up, nerds?
That's usually what Anne says when she opens the movie.
What? That's a very specific problem.
I was about to say.
Are you saying it's your speakers or your microphone?
I'll be right
Oh,
back.
gotcha. Oh, gotcha. Okay. You got it.
Hello, and welcome back to the Wildlands campaign. Take a second, take a deep breath, let it out. Imagine you can smell the smoke combined with the undercurrent of rotting vegetation that signals some kind of strange fungal spores on the wind. As the Wanderers and the one they're escorting are you guys getting music from the game, from Roll20?
No.
I don't think so.
I think so, yeah. I'm hearing kind of like a piano
there it is.
score.
Wait, yeah, no, I hear something which is very faint for me.
Mm-hmm.
This may
it's
crash
definitely
the
there.
stream.
Yeah, I can hear it.
So it's supposed to be playing nothing at the moment. but it's replaying the same song. Okay. Well, I don't know what's up with that. Hola, or holla, Ethan Hans in the chat. Thanks for dropping by, man. We are looking at the wrong screen. There we go. So, the party, having picked up Finn at a nearby inn with a rainbow eel, has set off again into the Wildlands. And They've been heading into these streams of smoke. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. All your cameras went out, so I thought it might be a precursor to
Yeah, we lost your camera.
a breakdown. We'll see if that reconnects. We're having a few normal technical difficulties. All right. At some point here, I feel certain this
Scheduled technical difficulties.
Yeah, our scheduled technical, we're gonna crash at least once. Okay. You're in the wilderness. You have approached some ruins. You have been smelling the spores of the fungal forest farther along your path. But you have come upon these ruins and trees that dot the plains that you have been traversing. It is dark, and out of the ruins, there now looms 3 giant men with bulging muscles and bellies. Each of them has a glowing sigil emblazoned upon their foreheads that seems to trail sparks as they swing their great bulging bodies about. They also each have a mushroom growing out and up out of one eye, or in place of it. The rogue music has stopped, so I'm starting it again. Nope, the rogue music is continuing to play, no matter what I do. When I tried to play something else, continue to do that. Alright, well, I can't control it. I think that's just the soundtrack for the evening. Just that one song over and over again.
Oh boy.
Good song, so.
There has been a woman's voice. Her screams, her sorrowful screams, are what convinced you to approach. But now, she speaks out from either one of the clouds of smoke or one of the bushes or trees. And she has said to you, "Are you servants of the Fiery One, the Defiler? You will not find us such easy marks again." There are also, in the dark shadows and scuttling amongst the smoking ruins, the forms and figures of other creatures that my goodness, you're a large party. That you can't quite make out, but they appear to be skeletal, rotting, and covered in far more mushrooms than any of these giants. You guys...
That anyone has any right to be.
Well, perhaps. You guys may now rearrange yourselves as you please within this starting zone.
Do you specify where we may have seen those skeletal forms? I didn't quite catch that.
You You couldn't quite make them out. You can take another look with a perception.
I just mean, like, in which area, like, am I seeing them?
You have a very high passive perception. So you are seeing them over here, and over here.
Fantastic. Thank you.
The reason you guys get to have such control over how you enter this map is because you made your travel checks. You are not.
I love that we just have a random bliss.
Yep, Bliss shouldn't be there.
Oh, Bliss. Yes, I thought there were too many of you. Bliss shows up.
You guys are like, you're such a large party, and I'm like, 6? Not. I mean, yeah, I guess that's pretty big, but like, oh, we got an extra now.
Okay. I'm sure we are seconds away from that song starting again. I don't know what I can do about that. Yep. So if I try to play another song, it plays that one instead. That's what's happening.
I didn't realize my full name would be conveyed on the bottom of my character, so that's a little long.
Yeah, it's automatically pulling that from your character sheet.
Yeah.
So,
I'll just shorten that a little bit over there.
Single
no, I can fix that. I can fix it on your nameplate, unless you can fix it.
I got it. Or should. I just check. Oh. I just shortened his character sheet name, but perfect.
No, that's not necessary.
Single syllable names, man. They're all the rage.
Of course, meanwhile, that large spherical thing that seems to have stalks trailing off of it has been circling overhead, and it circles lower. You know, it's a good thing this song is just going to work for every scene of this session. It's already driving me crazy. All right. What would you guys like to do? And would anyone like to respond to the woman's voice that rang out?
Yes, actually. Vapos would like to step forward, kind of into the light a little bit. And he's going to activate his Visage of the Elemental Self.
Now, does that have any additional effects around water?
It does not.
Okay.
Because this is kind of us reskinning an ability. It's meant to be more astral.
Mm-hmm. There's there's a lot of water on this map, is why I ask.
Okay. But yeah, so anyways, as I activate this, my head water swirls around it, and it no longer looks like my face. It looks like the face of a water elemental. And I'm just going to shout out to respond to this person, and I'm just going to say, I apologize, but I don't think that I look like I would serve the one that you're speaking of. We're certainly not sent by him.
This creature looms over you, and you see its weird face with one mushroom eye looking down at you, and it goes, all twisted from whatever has happened to it.
Okay.
And he says, "Looks can be deceiving."
All right. Vapos will kind of roll his eyes a little bit, and he's going to use Shape Water on just a 5-foot square of this water to freeze it. And he's just going to say, I am not tainted by his fire, and nor are any of my companions.
This guy says, "Your ice powers are impressive." And with his incredible weight, he steps on the ice and it cracks. And he adds, "But you should be warned. Yes, warned," says the third one, stumping up next to the tree here. "We are cursed. Cursed to explode."
Well, thank you for the warning. I'm good with leaving if everybody else is.
Yes, we didn't come here to make trouble. We heard some screaming.
All right, Vapos, let's see that persuasion check.
All right.
Now you do have Visage active, which gives you what?
Absolutely nothing for persuasion. I was hoping that the fact that I'm displaying obvious water powers and she's accusing us of
I
working
think
for
that's
someone
going to
with-
apply advantage, at least.
Cool. That's going to be really important. Oh, 15.
Well, they don't seem to immediately attack. The woman's voice rings out again, and she says, "Why have you come then?" And those of you with high perception are probably narrowing down the places that she can be. You think she's got to be in one of these two bushes or trees here.
We're just travelers passing through.
Yeah, we heard someone shouting like they were in trouble, and we came to come see if we could help. But looks like we were mistaken, so we can just go.
"But if you go," says the first giant, "then you will know where we are hiding. And you can tell anyone where the outcasts have holed up."
Well,
side
we
question.
wouldn't.
Quick side question. Do you guys want to hear that song again? Because I think it's only playing when I try to play a different song. Should I leave it off?
I still can barely hear it, if at all. So like,
No, it's
doesn't
off
matter
right
to
now.
me.
It stopped playing.
Well, no,
Like
like
having
I have
something playing.
Oh, you guys are still hearing it?
No.
No.
Oh, Lord.
No.
Okay, no.
I don't hear anything.
No, yeah. There's no music playing now. But if I try to play a different song, it will play again. So we can have that music or nothing.
I was just saying that for me it means nothing because I can't hear it anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, fine. So he just said, you can tell anyone where the outcasts are hiding.
Well, we probably would have had a harder time doing that if you hadn't just told us what your names were, but we still don't have any beef with you, so we have no reason to turn you in.
That may be so, but the knowledge is dangerous for us. Look at the damage that we have already done to ourselves. When we were sent by the Defiler to spread his curse, great harm has already been done.
Oh, so you guys work for the Defiler.
They scream, "No!" All three of them, which makes quite a bellow. They draw their weapons at that. They pick up their twisted wooden clubs.
If I can jump in just very quickly, kind of in response to them pulling out their clubs, I think that they've been cursed by this Defiler. Not certainly not working on his behalf. I think they're against their own will, spreading out something that he's trying to put out into the world.
Is that so? I guess I'm asking the giants.
1 second, I'm answering something. All right. Yes! Yes, the Defiler has brought the Blight Tribe upon us.
Do any of you guys have a spell or something that can remove curses?
Akiri does, but I doubt that she has it prepared.
Sorry, I blanked out. Which spell are we talking about?
Remove curse.
I might have it, actually.
Knowing
Double
this
check.
group, having remove curse on demand is not an unwise choice.
She had it in Ebon Tower, so I mean, unless she changed her list since then.
Yeah, I don't have it prepared today. I wasn't expecting us to get cursed today, guys. Which was, I know, a stupid decision because this is our party. We're always fucking cursed.
Well,
Always expect the curse.
But I thought, for once, maybe once, I can take it off my character sheet and I won't have to worry about it. Looks like I was wrong.
Sorry, go ahead.
Perhaps it might be helpful for you to know that we are actually enemies of the one you're speaking of and his allies.
Yes. All of his allies, we certainly would never find ourselves working on their behalf, especially Zuktmoy. Anyone who has any dealings with him, we would stray far away from.
Vapos is going to visibly wince when you say that name.
So you know of the Blight Tribe, says this woman, striding out from the tree.
I sure don't. I have no idea what any of these people are talking about.
She, to some of you, will look a bit familiar in her mode of dress and appearance. She has fungus of various kinds and bright, vivid colors growing out of half of her face and over her, much of her exposed arms. She carries a staff that's twisted with mushrooms, long sporing mushrooms, and seems eternally to be surrounded by a cloud of glinting spores in the moonlight. She looks a bit like your old friend Cordy. Or at least of
Can
the
I make a
same-
knowledge history check on the Blight tribe?
Sure.
That's a 28.
Oh my god. Alright. I should have been prepared for this. I mean, a 28. I should have been prepared for a 28. Oh, let's hear the song again. Yep, there it goes. Okay. So, for some reason, you know a lot about the Blight tribe. I guess just being a lore bard.
Maybe I twisted Cordy's arm and made her tell me all about it.
Could be. Well, you know that the Blight tribe has... the Blight tribe are those who are sworn to the service of the great demon Zuktmoy, lady of rot and fungus. And they are continuously trying to convert the nice Circle of Spores Druids, the Circle of Spores, to their vile demonic cause.
All right.
You also know that they are connected to other cults of secrecy and ancient origin, including one called the Forgotten. And they've also run afoul of one of the Thief Kings, whom you have seen, the Lord of Razors.
Okay.
But more than anything, they are seeking something from a legend you have the book of but have yet to translate or decode. The legend of Varankana.
I guess I gotta get on that. Well, like I've had any time to sit down and translate a book lately.
Indeed. Something that the Circle of Spores also seeks. But the Blight tribe are definitely a vile version of the Circle of Spores Druids.
All right. Cool. Well, I'll say I'm familiar with the doings of the Blight tribe, at least somewhat, and I'm very sorry that they have targeted you. That's a really terrible position to be in. I will say, just to offer a bit of friendship, we used to travel with someone who I believe is probably of your same circle. A spores druid named Cordy Sephi. She traveled with us for quite some time, actually.
You know Cordy. Go ahead and make a persuasion roll with advantage.
That's a natural 20.
Well, natural 20 just means a 20 and when it's an ability
That's,
check, but
yes, well,
yes.
speaking as a bard, that's a 33.
All right. They are taken aback. How is she? Says the woman, stepping forward.
It's some months since we parted ways, but last we saw her, she was doing quite well.
As the woman walks up, these giants step back and they bow low before her in worship. I've just decided that the symbols are on their protruding bellies and not their foreheads. Hill giants think with their stomachs anyway.
As Scrap sees the giants doing that for her, as she comes by, he's gonna look at his rats and say, like, "How come you guys don't do nothing like that for me?"
As they
walk by,
they fall upon the ground.
yeah, he's just looking at his little rats like, "How come you guys never do anything like that when I go walking by?"
She says, "Well, I'm glad to hear that she was all right. Now that she's close enough, you can see that she too has one of these red symbols upon her forehead. These fiery sigils. It is well, then, that she has not seen what has come to pass here. Perhaps she will find what she seeks. Meanwhile, our home has become cursed. And there is little that we can do about it. Some in the circle are even considering joining the enemy."
Does the Tegloom not offer any respite? Any help?
The gloom. She looks down. The gloom has tried to help. It released, out of our anger, the rage weed. But the guardian became cursed and turned against us. The gloom's power has been diverted or perverted. And as strife breaks apart the circle, those of us who bear the curse and have inadvertently spread it are cast out, as you now find us.
Does that have anything to do with the big circle in the sky?
She looks up and lets out a trilling whistle. Down flies this thing. An large fleshy orb with eye stalks. But in place of all its eyes are clusters of fungus and mushroom, which also cover the rest of its body. She says, Nashari is my longtime companion and servant. The rotten thing floating tilts its body or head forward as if bowing to her also in worship. She says, "He has been cursed as well. It spreads like disease, like wildfire through us all."
Oh, well, in that case, maybe we should all be going. Like right now.
I see. I had prayed to the gloom for help, but I suppose you are not it.
Well,
but
go ahead.
I was going to ask, before Finn responded at all, would he know of any, like, would that this potential infliction, whatever this may be able to transmit to people who are not of these kind of powers that all of these entities seem to have? If they were not of the circle of spores, would this same infliction maybe be able to spread out to other people? Like, is Vapos in danger in his current positioning, kind of thing?
You would only inherently know that through a successful Arcana check if you wish to make one now.
Arcana? Of course.
Max, could I also try to make some kind of check to determine if my lesser restoration spell would work on this sort of thing?
Yeah. I guess that's also an Arcana check, or maybe religion.
16. Arcana.
Oh, never mind.
There is a strange dwarven magic to these sigils. You are not entirely certain whether they can be catching for you guys.
In that case, does Mavra have any idea about these?
Would you like to make a check?
Sure. What check would I
I
make?
think Vapos would also like to take a check based on his history with the Netheros, and just seeing if he had heard about this being used or if there was any kind of cure for it.
Okay. By the way, I'm giving you, you guys are just seeing this symbol. You're not really studying it closely, which would enable you, if you were to study it closely, given time and preparation, you could have advantage, for example.
Mm-hmm.
You would be allowed to make another check. Scrap. With your Arcana check, are you trained in Arcana at all? No, you're not.
No.
Well, Lesser Restoration can remove blinded, deafened, paralyzed, or poisoned. If these mushrooms are a poison, it could help with that.
Or a disease. It can also remove a disease.
It might even be able to unblind their eyes of mushrooms.
Okay.
But a glowing fire sigil does not seem to be covered by the spell. Maver, did you roll?
Not yet. I was actually going to ask, can I tell from where I am, because there is a giant pretty close to me, that it's Dwarven?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm going to ask the giant next to me if I can come closer and look at it.
Yes. Maver, you study it pretty closely. Make an intelligence check with advantage. Good thing you had
Yeah,
advantage.
14. Yeah.
All right. It reminds you of this.
Oh. I'm gonna tell everyone that it reminds me of the first, because this was the first, the thing that Aquitus and I think Bref touched, right?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let them know about that. Let everyone know about that.
All right, but I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be harsh, but okay. How does this thing spread? Because I don't want me and my friends to get, cursed or infected or anything like that. Like, I would love to be able to help you, but I just want to make sure that we can stay safe too.
She says, it has been created to force our people. She gestures at all of the mushroom-infected creatures of various races. Our people, it has to force them to embrace the Defiler.
I see. So if we're not in your circle or anything like that, we should be fine.
Only if you wish to accept the gift of the fungus.
That's okay. I mean,
understand.
I have a spell that can remove diseases and poison, but I don't know if that's what that whole sigil rune thingy is. I don't think this would help.
What we truly need is for the sacred mushroom pools to be cleansed.
Okay.
But that cannot be accomplished while the maddened guardian protects it.
Does anyone here have any abilities that can purify water?
I could certainly assist with that.
And we're pretty good at taking care of mad guardians.
You would help us? Friends of Cordy?
I don't see why not. And
If we can, yeah.
I mean, that's why we came. That's why we came over here in the first place.
Woadwax would be delighted.
well, we can't disappoint Woadwax.
He's gonna.
How far away are these sacred pools?
They are home. She points farther along the road that you've already been traveling. I think some of you had thought of turning aside, but in the distance, looming up, you can see gigantic mushrooms the size of trees or bigger, creating a forest, a shadowy forest off in the distance.
Of course.
A day's travel. In the heart of Everspore Forest. Because the creature is summoned by the gloom, our people will not touch it out of our religious dread. I would have done something, but having been afflicted with the curse, I and my friends were driven out.
I'm sorry. I just so that I can be a little bit more clear on what we're dealing with here. If you are all under his influence, how come you're not attacking us right now or something?
I do not know. It does not seem as though this sigil controls minds. Instead, it explodes and spreads the curse upon our death.
Oh. That seems like a bit of a counterintuitive way to spread something, but okay. So if we go and...
Not necessarily in the mind of the one that created it.
Fair enough. Well, if we go help purify this lake, will that help remove it for you guys?
If you can cleanse the pools, then I believe, and Woadwax believes, what is more, that the gloom's power will be able to flow and cleanse the whole of Everspore Forest from this defiling curse.
Okay, sounds pretty straightforward to me. Who's Woadwax?
He is the oldest and wisest of the Circle of Spores in Everspore.
Right, okay.
Some think him long lost to the many voices, but they sing to him of wisdom and love for all. She tilts her head as if listening to music that no one else can hear, which I just realized is very apropos to this thing that's happening with the sound.
Scrap is looking increasingly creeped out, but he's going to look to the others for... She keeps mentioning a gloom also, but Finn also mentioned that, so... And nobody else seems weirded out by that, so he's kind of like... He's not sure if this is a stupid question, but he's going to be like... So the gloom... Is that some kind of like full... Actually, would I know what that is? Before I ask that question, would I know what the gloom is?
Did Blitz know what the gloom is?
Well,
when you say
no.
I, do you mean...
I mean
Nico
Scrap.
or
Would Scrap
Scrap?
know that?
Oh, okay.
Would Scrap know that?
Unlikely, but
Okay.
possible.
I don't know much about it. It just... I don't know. He lived in the sewers, and it's called the Gloom. Maybe there's a connection. I don't know. Never mind. I'm going
you can
to...
make a history check if you want.
I'll just ask. So, anyone want to tell me what this Gloom is? Is it like a nature spirit or something? Or a god?
Finn will kind of pipe up a little bit, and I don't know too much about the Gloom, but I know that he is certainly one of the Dark Six. I know that he is honored and honors the Everspore, but he's certainly not one that I've ever followed or met any other followers of.
Okay. Well, if he's gonna help these folks, I figure we should still try to cleanse that lake.
Well, for the moment, though, we are hired by Finn, so are you okay if we take this detour?
Finn has a very serious look on his face, which even in your very short time traveling is abnormal for him. He's normally very cheery. And like he's seriously seeming to be contemplating kind of the two options primarily here. I don't know that I certainly have no issue with the, day or two's additional. Sorry, you said the mushrooms were on the way, that we were going to be going regardless, like what the plan was, or are they a detour from kind of generally what the path was going to be?
It's basically, I think we're either taking the mushroom route or we're taking the desert route. We were planning on going to the desert.
I'm sorry, I did not realize this was actually going to. Okay, Everspore, perfect. So 1409.
She pointed to the southeast of wherever
Got it.
you are.
Which is basically what the plan was, but we were just going to go on the desert side, not the mushroom side. Okay. I certainly don't mind a slight detour, but I do want to ensure that it's for the right reasons. These are entities that he kind of looks around at the group and seeing similar-ish confusion, I think, on the rest of the party members. These are entities that we seem to not to know too much about, and I would hate to inadvertently make things worse by our naivety.
The woman points at you with a finger that has fungus growing out of its skin.
Careful where you point that.
And she says, "You are connected to nature as well, are you not?"
Not in the way that you are. You seem to follow and find your identity through others, through beings, through gods or entities that are fallible. I find my peace in nature in that which is infallible, which is nature itself.
My friends are telling me that makes sense.
But then your friends have quite good sense.
Well,
Since... Oh, go ahead.
the circle would be glad to welcome any of you into the chorus. Or if not, great would be our gratitude if you were to help.
Well, I don't know about my friends here, but I'm not one for singing.
I mean, I probably shouldn't speak for everybody.
Cordy, always happy to help.
Yeah, Vapos would like to do an insight check on her, just since we've
For the
been
record, I am
interacting with her
very
for a
good
couple
at
minutes.
singing.
He's just wanting to get a feel for, he's interacted with quite a few servants of the Netheros, and so he's just kind of wanting to see if he kind of gets that vibe off of her. Like, is this some kind of trick like the Defiler might play, or does it seem like she is genuinely one of his enemies?
Go ahead and make an insight check with advantage.
That is a 25.
Nice. You think that a trick by the Defiler would feel a little different. It seems unlikely that a trick would have started off by almost initiating violence.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Vapos is going to turn to the others, and Hearn is just going to say, "You can measure a lot about a person by the nature of their enemies. And this one most certainly seems to share enemies with us. If we can help her, I think we should. If for no better reason than that."
You will have to be stealthy. Much of the circle will be opposed to your presence in that sacred place.
Do you point us potentially in any paths that might offer some assistance in that regard?
I will send a bird messenger to Woadwax, and he will meet you and guide you through the forest. On soft steps, you will find your way to the sacred mushroom pools, where you will have to face the hatred weed.
That's my least favorite kind of weed.
Well, I can help. I can help with the whole stealth thing. So,
Are
with the birds' help, we should be good to go.
Are to five of you the only inflicted people as of right now, or should we expect to potentially find more?
All those with the curse have been driven out of Everspore. She raises her hands, and from out of the ruins and the bushes comes a crowd of rotten, fungal-infested creatures shuffling forward. They groan a little bit as they show themselves. All members of the chorus. She raises her hand and they all bow down before her. Many of them are rotten through, and you can see their ribs and spine all twisted and intertwined with various long fungal growths and mushrooms.
Kind of trying to avert my gaze from these newcomers as much as possible, and focusing back on the lady. And I would suppose that there's been no or little to no resistance to this casting out based on the protection of the forest.
What else can we do but leave and hope that the infection and spread stops? Anytime one of us dies, which happens as part of our cycle, an explosion and a spread of this curse, this burning curse in the forest. It is a terrible thing.
All the more reason for us to do what we can to put a stop to it as soon as possible.
Thank you. She gives you a nod. Who are you that would help us, who are usually cast aside and hated for our beliefs?
We are the Wanderers.
Wanderers who would risk their lives for us?
Let's just say that I've seen firsthand the damage that your enemies can do, and I wouldn't see that done to anyone.
Yes. And well you may fear the circle of spores going to war on the Defiler's behalf. Which is what he wants. I say war, but really I think it is something else. Some knowledge that the chorus possesses that the Defiler needs to complete his plans. But it is dark, and you are not of the chorus. Perhaps, wanderers, you would prefer to rest.
I think that's not a bad idea.
Yes, I think going into the forest at night would be ill-advised. Let's set out in the morning.
You will want to camp far from us, no doubt.
Do you snore?
I don't
Then
know.
we'll kind of pipe up. 'Tis not a personal issue, but I do need to land at a location with a bit more. Kind of looks around at the small pool of water that's there and seemingly not much else. I need to land at the location with a bit more water. This does not quite fill the need.
She looks at one of the giants. Before you came down out of the hills, and I made you join the chorus, you snored when I came upon you and your brothers, sleeping among the bones of the villagers. Do I snore? The giant looks up. I don't think so. But I'm not sure. She shrugs.
Max, didn't you say that there was a lot of water in this area?
There is, but no one wants to correct Finn. But he said it doesn't quite fill the need because it is muddy water that's full of gross stuff.
Got it.
Yeah, sorry, I'd asked. I must have missed that at the beginning. I asked that at the end of last session, and you had said that there was, I think, two small pools, one being the fountain, one other small pool.
Yeah,
Actually,
I think all of this
Yeah.
is like muddy water.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Okay. Then I just would have said deeper water as a
There you go.
point of context.
Okay. So, you got what would you guys like to do? Do you want to? Do you want to? First of all, do you want to talk to her? Do you have any other questions that you want to ask this lady? She introduces herself as Deciveth. Do you want to go and camp in other ruins than the ones that are haunted by these creatures? or do you want to camp here amongst them?
Finn's voice, like I said, would definitely be finding any small body of water, even a small lake or anything. If there's any bodies of water close to here, is what he would his vote would be.
This is actually the most water that's really around. You're in the plains
Gotcha.
here. There was a river, but you guys passed that a while ago. You'd have to trek a little bit of a ways to get to it.
Okay.
You might be able to find a creek, actually. You might be able to find a creek to camp next to.
I think you've piqued Scrap's first curiosity, and he's going to turn to you, Finn, and say, did you need a refill on your flask or something? Why why do you specifically request a big body of water?
It doesn't necessarily have to be big. It just has to be. Kind of shrugs. Water, I suppose. It needs to have life. Needs to have an ecosystem. Needs to have friends inside of it. He'll kind of like look briefly at Pepos and kind of try to make it short. I would even dare say that I might even be more reliant upon the power of water than even he is.
Okay. I'm trying to think of how to ask this question without seeming like really proddy and like and mean, but like Scrap's gonna be like, is that like, I don't know how to ask this, but like, why?
Because I'm sorry, the lady's name, I didn't quite write it down. What was her name? That we just met?
Decibeth.
Decibeth?
Decibeth?
I'll write it out.
Just as Decibeth relies upon the power of fungi and the gloom in her forest, Everspore, I tend to rely upon the power of the ocean, the rivers, the lakes, the fish, the other life, the human or other land dwellers who venture out. That is all where I draw any semblance of power that I have from.
Gotcha. That makes more sense. I was just confused as to like I this is the most interaction I've had with Yumis in a long time. I didn't know if you guys had suddenly gone like aquatic or something. But cool. That makes sense.
Only a small few of us.
Decibeth kneels down out of the muddy water and puts her hand on the grass and seems to be listening for a moment. She stands up and she says, "The chorus says there is a pond that has formed scum that way. At the corner of a ruin."
Oh, thanks. That's real nifty.
A ruin might be a nice place to seek shelter for the night.
Seems like it might be a good place. Let's take a look.
Are you folks gonna be all right? If we go camp over there?
We will have to be.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Finn will agree about the landing location, certainly. And then kind of look back at Decibeth as he's maybe has dropped his pack and is kind of putting it back on after realizing that we're not about to get into a fight here. He'll look back at her and kind of say, I certainly have a strong desire to assist. Everspore does not deserve to be tainted in any manner such as this. No environment does. But would I, or we, potentially be able to call on you, assuming we are able to rectify the situation, to assist in the rebalancing of nature, as it were, in a location not your typical Everspore type forest? Would you, as I am, venture out to a different affinity for the betterment of all?
I don't know. Most people call us the rotten ones, the tainted ones. But Cordy left. I think she had a mission from Woadwax. You'd have to ask him about that.
Understood.
Have a good dream tonight. All of you.
Mavra looks around at everyone that has bowed to her and kind of awkwardly bows her head as they walk out.
Decibeth nods back. She doesn't seem surprised, but she seems pleased somehow. Cool. Refresh your inspiration. Akiri, that all felt very heretical to you.
That's fine. That's why she didn't say anything.
Based on your training.
It's okay. Akiri liked Cordy, so she's willing to help.
Fair enough. I meant the way that they were treating this lady. All right. You guys find a ruin where there seems to be a kind of a small pond that has spread out. This ruin probably was once a tower or large stone fortified building of some kind, but there's very little of it left. It seems to have been burned or smashed and worn away by time. It's up on the nestled amongst the hills in the plains here. Good night, Mavra. Thanks for playing.
Hey.
Good night, Mavra.
Good night.
Hey, Mavra.
Yeah, when we find the pond, Vapos is gonna go to it and he's gonna cast Create Water to add 20 gallons to it. Just help it get a little bit more life.
Honestly, 20 gallons is like a lot until you like put it down on the ground, and then it's like not that much.
Yeah. It'll probably increase the size of a pond a decent bit, but not much more than that.
Fair enough. Well, the pond scum probably hates it, but everything else is probably happy, including Finn. All right. Yeah. Okay. With a slightly embiggened pond, you can make camp amongst those ruins. Do you want to tell me how you make camp? Are you doing a standard procedure?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'm sure we do a watch. Uh, due to it helping us rest better. I mean, I'm certainly not opposed to a fire.
I feel not that this is safe territory, but we're not immediately trying to hide from anyone, at least.
And it's not like we're out in the open or anything.
Well, you are in the plains, so you are kind of out in the open, except you are sheltered amongst the ruins.
Sure, yeah. Well,
so
yeah.
Okay, so you guys light a fire.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Is there in the ruins themselves, is there cover to be able to light a fire without it being super obvious to the surrounding area?
Let me see here. There it is.
Corey, it looked like you were talking, but...
Oh, yeah. You said that there was still some smoke coming from these other ruins as well, right?
Yep.
Well, that should help mask it a good bit.
Indeed. Yeah, you can kind of light the fire in a corner of the ruin and mask it a fair bit, but it'll definitely be obviously inside there from anyone looking from without. The stone walls crumbling and worn half away rise up about you as you guys unroll your bedrolls, light a fire, eat a meal, mark off a day's rations.
Oh wait, Akiri Akiri did that survival check last.
She did. So you can have fresh...
whatever she found.
Fantasy asparagus.
Oh yeah, that's right.
My favorite kind.
All right.
So based on the size of the pond, I would obviously assume that there's no life, significant life in there, but Finn will still take out his kind of like lay down by the side of the pond and still seemingly like very habitually take out one of his, not anything that's wrapped. He has 4 fishing poles. One of them is kind of wrapped in a special, or inside of a case rather. He'd take one of the other ones that seems to be made of just a very standard kind of like oak wood, and you see him kind of pull these worms out of his jacket. They're like these, or his shirt. They're these kind of unmoving worms. Puts it and then throws into the water, and then kind of like trances, just kind of completely becomes in his own little world.
Are you adding a fishing minigame to our campaign?
I'm damn well certainly trying.
Max, you have a challenge before you.
Yeah, okay. All right. I don't know how much time you want to spend on this. Why don't you go ahead and make a fishing check, which actually in 3.5 I would have known what to ask for, but I guess it's just going to be wisdom.
Yeah.
Would it not be survival?
Survival.
No, fishing tackle is actually a tool.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So I have both proficiency and advantage on fishing tackle.
Okay. Nice.
So look at that.
Oh my
He
god.
fishes the fuck out of that pond.
So roll a D100 and add your result.
Sorry, add my result.
So add 28.
Oh, okay. Oh my god.
You fish
Max-
up God.
No, he fishes up another deck of many things. It's a deck of many Tarasques!
You fish up a trout that swallowed a whole bunch of astral diamonds.
No, the trout is an astral diamond.
Okay.
Okay, so
So
there's
there
better
is
first two rolls
obviously-
for his fishing pit.
What?
So there's no two better first rolls for Finn's fishing whole bit. I love this.
That's amazing.
I mean, I have to give it to you.
Lucas, did you make the River Monsters guy?
The what?
The River Monsters guy? You know, like the guy who went around, finds like the biggest fish he can.
Mm.
I think that's what you made.
Okay.
Yeah, basically.
So, as every druid worth their salt water knows, every body of water has a spirit that rules it, no matter how humble. In this case, your one worm attracts a cloud of minnows and frogs, all of whom swim out and try to get at the worm. Amongst them is the silverfin, which is, instead of being an inch-long minnow, is 2 inches long and talks. And it swims up, takes a bite of the worm, and as you tug it out of the water, it cries out, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Hold on there!"
Please tell me this thing's name is actually Mickey.
It's the silverfin. It needs no other title for its station. The rest of you, who are actually at the opposite corner of the tower toasting bits of cheese over the fire, hear this voice ring out.
Finn, did you find a friend? I hope it's a friend.
Finn, did not look surprised when that first, if you can see him, he did not look surprised at all when that first voice came out. But when you registered that you heard that voice too, the same look as when a Scrap saw or heard the eel talking. You can hear that as well. And you look back at the fish in complete surprise. Or sorry, look back at Silverfin in complete surprise.
Do you normally talk with fish?
I kind of normally talk with everything, but I guess fish could be included in that. And he'll so Silverfin's still he'll kind of pull him forward, but still keeping him in the water as much as possible, but bring him closer to the small shore or whatever. And he'll kind of make this. If anybody's right next to him, they notice a couple different gestures with one of his hands. He'll hold on to the pole with his left hand, and with his right hand, make a couple small gestures. One's in this a circular shape, and then one's kind of on a more square shape. And then he'll reach his hand back out, and now laying in his hand are 10 new worms that you did not see before. and he'll take one of the worms and kind of like offer it directly to Silverfin, like kind of bring him in and offering one directly to him.
The Silverfin seems a little surprised. It devours the worm. Somewhat impossibly, since it's only 2 inches long itself. And, is healed by Goodberry, or just has the nourishment of the Goodberry. And says, "You are a master fisherman. You have found the rarest fish in this pond. And I shall give you a gift if you return me to my domain."
Well, with this gigantic smile on his face, I certainly wouldn't take you out of your home, especially one such as intelligent as you are. He'll kind of reach down and very gently unhook the hook, and I guess he doesn't have anything to help with the potential injury, but he would ask kind of the larger group, could anybody potentially come down and maybe help Silverfin? I seem to have unfortunately hurt his cheek a little bit.
Sure. Scrapwell looks a little bit bewildered about this entire situation, but he will walk over and kind of kneel down, and he'll kind of reach his little rat paw into the water, and it'll glow, and he'll kind of tap Silverfin and cast Cure Wounds.
All right. This is the ultimate D&D experience.
7 points of healing.
This is the greatest moment of my gaming career, so I'm loving this.
Thanks, Ratman.
Sure thing, buddy.
Your gift is accepted as well. Now, my gift unto you, O Master Fisherman. The silver fin leaps up out of the water and whispers in your ear the words of a spell, and then dives back into the pond. Its silvery sheen disappearing into the pond scum. You gain the ability to, the next time you're at a body of water, any body of water, you may touch the water and commune, casting as the spell with the spirit of that place.
Fantastic. That's amazing.
So if you want to write that on your sheet, it's the gift of the Silverfin.
Will do. Oh my god.
I can't believe that just happened.
That was fantastic.
I do want to say for the record that based on his previous experiences with Cordy and her mushroom substances, Graf assumes none of this actually is happening.
That's fair.
I love the talking fishy. Oh, it's delightful.
Fair enough.
So, Finn, I must admit I'm a bit curious. Is something like that what you're expecting to find when we reach our destination?
Then we'll kind of look back at the now empty little small body of water. Something like to Silverfin? No, I'm afraid this would be a much more dire circumstance than, or much more severe, I should say, circumstance than what the Silverfin represents. I suppose that as we're now about to embark on a slightly side adventure on top of this, it might be time to reveal a little bit more about what we're going to find, but as I mentioned, that there's a creature who's washed onto the shoreline of the lake. It's a creature that absolutely has no business leaving its home, leaving its dwelling, and certainly never has in the past. But its doing so this time, I think, might be indicative of a larger problem with the environment inside of the lake. Deep Look Lake has a lot of moving parts inside of it. My request to our new friend of the Circle of Spores was in the thought that we might run into some issues that need to be solved with Druidic magic specifically, and those with potentially more power, significantly more power than myself alone. What my guild has found is that he kind of like stalls for a second, as long as he possibly can, because he doesn't know how to say this, and then kind of blurts out, "A deceased beach kraken has been found on the beach of Deep Lurk Lake. That is what I'm on my way to research. That is what I have recruited you to help me accomplish, because such a substantial beast would certainly draw the attention of, well, frankly, everybody from the surrounding area."
So we're looking for something that scares a kraken.
What we're looking for is why the kraken would have wound up if it died. That's one thing, but it would die in its den. It would die, frankly, where it belongs. It would not ever wind up washed up onto the beach. I don't know what to tell you besides we're looking for answers to that, and the answer to that might spawn more questions. 'Tis true.
I've
see.
come to realize that any time in life that you feel you've reached the end of finding answers, you're really just waiting for the new question to arrive anyway.
Wise words. We don't know what we don't know, and everything we learn, we simply learn more that we don't know.
There is certainly some truth to that. And Vapos is going to start wrapping, or he's going to start kind of, or he's just going to start rubbing his wrappings that are, or that are on his hands, just kind of rubbing his hands together. And you may notice that those wrappings are actually, they look like they're made of silk, but they've actually got very small scales embedded throughout them. That they look. Okay.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Or they look like or like snakeskin scales, that kind of thing.
Oh, cool. Finn will kind of. You can see he feels like a little bit embarrassed, or he's feeling like he's having difficulty having unloaded that very quickly. And so he'll kind of like, I certainly don't, or wish that this doesn't change any of the terms of our arrangement. Had I expected that the crack in itself caused any potential danger to you, I would have been more forthright, but it is simply a deceased beast that I need to research, and hopefully nothing more than that.
I can certainly understand that. I don't think that changes anything for the rest of us. It's just certainly a bit surprising.
It's profoundly rare that a Aquavalle Secretore researcher has ever hired outside bodyguards, I suppose, in the interest of one of these types of research projects. And so there's not a lot of protocol about how to go about this. And so I hope you will grace me as I wade my way through it.
Of course. There's you hired us for a job, and we'll do it to the best of our ability.
That I certainly appreciate.
I ain't gonna lie. Normally I try to stay away from giant monsters, but I've only ever heard stories of Kraken, so I'm real curious. Plus it's dead, so you know, that helps.
Krikes are the absolute menaces of the ocean, and I say that with a very heavy heart. My goal is a symbiotic relationship between land dwellers and ocean dwellers. Yet, Kraken are to one of the very few that I found there's no appeasing them. They attack what they feel like attacking. They defend what they feel like defending. Yet, they can act with no rhyme, no reason. They're the one beast that I certainly want to know more and more about, but the one that I'll have the least hope of ever understanding them at their core truth.
Once something gets real big, they pretty much just do whatever they want. That's been my experience anyway. The bigger you are, the more you think you can just get away with anything.
Unfortunately, that has proven true in past histories.
Yeah, well, no matter how big you are, or no matter how small you are, there's always someone smaller than you. Those are the folks you gotta fight for.
On that, we can certainly also agree.
Okay, so I look. I don't mean to be rude, and I certainly can't be one to judge because I'm literally a giant talking rat. But was anyone else a little bit creeped out by that whole chorus situation? Like, I don't know. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Not the
Yeah, no, okay, so when we first started adventuring together, um, we had an elf with us named Cordy, who was from this tribe, and yeah, it's creepy.
There's a
Like the good kind of creepy.
Yeah, no, she was fun. She was all full of mushrooms. It was interesting.
I didn't like the way she said she made those giants join the chorus. Kind of gave me a little bit of the heebie-jeebies there.
I don't remember because Cordy was like 2 years ago. But Max, did we know how much did we know about her? Like, did we know about the chorus?
Oh, I feel
you-
like we did.
Yeah. It became obvious from she would go and commune with the mushrooms that were growing out of her head, and that was the chorus.
Yeah, I think it has something to, like, the chorus has something to do with like the sentient mushrooms growing in them.
Okay, that honestly doesn't make me feel any better.
Yeah, it's weird.
She thought that all of you must be very lonely. But, she also gave you a big dump of what her secret was right before she left the campaign.
okay.
So, if you guys were really paying close attention that session, there was a lot of reveals about all this stuff.
I think we were driving home from somewhere.
Yeah.
Because all I remember
You
is
might
like
have been.
Max cutting in and out as he tried to do the chorus voice.
Oh no. Well, I did that when the chorus was talking to her, but yeah. Man, if only Discord played nicely with voice modulation tricks. Anyway, she talked about the void cap mushroom in the swamps of Varankana, and the fact that it was really, really important and must not get into the hands of the Blight tribe. She tried to look up the legend of Varankana in the library of Ibu Gruger back in Arkney, which you guys are not far from now. But she got a lousy check, and then you guys left Arkney. So she only got the very first part of the legend. So there's the basics.
I ain't saying I don't want to help them. They definitely need some help, and I wouldn't want to leave them behind. I just think we should be a little careful.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, it was super weird and very creepy, but like, she was cool.
Well, as friendly and nice as they were once they knew we weren't their enemies, I think I would prefer to avoid joining their chorus for now.
Oh yeah, no, I got
yeah.
no. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Besides, I already kind of got a weird connection with my boys. I don't think I need more little voices in my head. Especially since most of mine are idiots. Looking at you, Jerry. Jerry squeaks indignantly.
I think it's
Jerry.
important for me to explain my interest in helping Everspore. I have no want to get into the dealings with such powerful and different beings who have no claim upon the part of the world in which I tend to reside. What I want to ensure, as much as possible, is that the forest itself does not suffer from the warring of two powerful entities against each other. It seems that at least to me, it seems that in their fixation upon knowledge and power, they've forgotten what it truly means, I suppose, to be, as they call it, a druid. We're not here to increase our own power. We're here for the betterment of nature. And that is the purpose in which I will endeavor into Everspore Forest.
I mean, it kind of sounds like they don't have much choice. This blight thing is kind of forcing their hand a little bit, ain't it?
Perhaps. I'm certainly not privy to the interworkings between Tikloom and all of his potential enemies. I simply know why I have not aligned myself with similar beings of domains more akin to my affinity.
I can certainly understand your hesitancy in that regard. Let's just say that I'm very acquainted with the enemy that they were speaking of, and anything that we can do to hinder their plans is most assuredly worth doing.
Can I do an insight check on Vapos to determine just how he feels, like get a sense of how he feels about the Defiler based on the way he's talked about him?
Sure.
Dirty 20.
Yeah, I think that's enough for you to get pretty easily that Vapos feels kind of a combination of fear and shame.
Okay. He won't comment. He just wants to confirm that. Jeez, Aloha, I mean, I was never a very religious rat until, well, recently. And then he kind of looks at the totem and the seven-headed rat totem in his hand. And he just kind of says, like, now it looks like there's gods coming out of the woodwork.
Akiri turns and looks at him blankly, like, wait, you didn't... But Isn't it just the normal amount of gods?
No, like I knew they existed. I just sort of
Oh, okay.
I didn't really get involved with them too much.
Okay.
And it just seems like that all now.
Gods aren't really gods. The things we're talking about aren't really gods.
They want to be, but they're not
Yeah,
yet.
they wish they were.
All I know is I didn't even believe in the Vermin King until like a couple nights ago. And then all of a sudden, apparently I'm his herald or something. And then all you guys are telling me about all this other supernatural, dangerous, deity level stuff. It's all happening all at once, and it's kind of getting a little overwhelming.
Yeah, tell us about it. You know, it is kind of funny because this has all been happening for so long that it's just kind of normal at this point.
Hate to say it, Scrap, but it never stops being overwhelming.
Yeah, well, so far you guys seem like a pretty good crew, so I'm not too worried. You did survive up in Tower, which I'm still having trouble believing.
We've gotten pretty good at surviving together.
Well, that's what I like to hear. Well, it says if there's one thing that every rat in the heart of hearts likes to know is that the people around them are good at surviving. Because if you're good at surviving, it means you can help me be good at surviving too.
We think we can do that for each other.
Well, gotta tell you folks, I really did not want to go into that mushroom forest, but I guess that's what we're doing tomorrow.
Yes. Why don't you all go ahead and get some rest? I'll take the first watch.
And I'm still adjusting to the whole diurnal thing. I think I'll stay up with Jed. That's all right.
Okay.
You folks.
I'll happily take any watch to support the group, and Finn will take he has 9 remaining worms kind of in his hand. He'll take 8 of them, leave 1, and kind of hook the 9th one back onto his hook, and then he'll take the remaining 8 and kind of as easily as he can sneak them over to Scrap for the rats.
You are spoiling these boys, but he will take them and he will feed them to the rats. You can see they're all squirming inside of his coat.
You folks lie down on the stony ground in the ruined tower, enjoying the warmth of your campfire and bellies full of just the rations and the food that Akiri found along the way. Most of you drift off. Some of you stay awake and you take it in turns to watch. You aren't going to have to roll perception rolls tonight, but something will happen. Bella.
Yes.
Wait, is it working?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's playing a different song.
Yay!
Yay!
Yes! It's actually playing the song that I wanted to play. No, wait. The other one started, didn't it? Yeah, it did. Okay. Bella, you dream.
Alrighty.
And all of you can hear the first part of what's happening in her dream. You all hear a man's voice, mellifluous and beautiful, singing, coming from the side of her bedroll. The bow that gathers shadows around it, even now, in the flickering firelight, is singing, accompanied by a kind of one-string twanging noise that just adds a little background texture to the song. This humming song is wordless, yet it seems to fill up your senses with meaning and understanding. Bella, in your dream, a way has opened. A path that was blocked by a great shadow has beams of light arrowing through it like shafts fired by the sun. And you are pulled along this path by yourself. It's as if your intention, your own will, stands outside of your own mind. It's as if you are leading yourself onward, pushing forward against great odds and terrible gravity that seeks to pull you back. And the path leads downward, even though gravity is pulling you up. It's as though you're sinking, making your way down, down, down into a deep place. You look around you, and you don't quite know where you are. It's blue. And you are crouched on a circular platform made up of rainbow-colored cobblestones that circle around you. You're aware of a great vastness and of stars. Do you want to do anything?
I think Bella would just sort of say, "Hello? Is anybody there?"
You realize that all the cobblestones are books, and their titles appear saying, "Hello? Is anybody there?" They shift and change the words around you. And then they say, "Boom?" ? You are all awakened in the middle of the night by a loud explosion noise coming from the ruins that you left, where you spoke to Deciveth. Those on watch, which at this point it would be the second watch, you will be quite startled as the bright orange light flares up. This also wakens you up, Bella. And folks, that is where we are going to end tonight's session. Thank you very much for playing, and I'll see you next week. Alrighty. Thank you to them with no screen name, and to Ethan Hans, who both spent some time hanging out in chat, making jokes, including the man with no screen name's evergreen joke, Defiler, hope you guys know her. And thank you for hanging out, folks. Thank you to Jeremy, player of Breath. Thank you to Danielle, player of Mavra, who always has to leave early. Thank you to M, player of Akiri. Thank you to Kirsten, player of Bella. Thank you to Nico, player of Scrap. Thank you to Corey, player of Vapos. And thank you to Lucas, who is joining us for a while as a guest star, player of Finn. Alrighty. Well, that was some interesting role-playing, guys. And
yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Good. We'll see what happens next session with the explosion. Folks, hope to see you again next week. And thank you to anyone who watched this later. You are awesome. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.